Hey, welcome back, everybody. It is I, DrBossKey, and today we're going to do notes for the build that I'm about to put up. So it's the alpha build 0.8.0. Crazy, and thank you for all of the playtest feedback. It took quite a few hours to get through. Some shout outs to folks, Luggage, Zay, Oven Feline, the Omega Theory, Eric, just Eric. And if I missed anyone, did I miss anyone? Let me see here. I think that those are the main folks. Oh, Dimitri, thank you. So it's been about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks since we did our last build. And if you've been watching the channel, people have been submitting their video recordings of their playbacks. And I've been watching them and using that as an opportunity to iterate on the game. So the game has come a long way from that version. And again, thank you everybody for the playtest. So why don't we just hop over and I'll just quickly go over some of the changes we've been dealing with here. So let's see here. So, Razazarak, thank you for your playthrough feedback as well. Awesome possum. Okay. Yeah, so let's see here. I'll just take it for the top and we'll work our way back. Actually, maybe from the bottom, we'll work our way up. Okay. Some of these changes made it into the previous build, but I didn't talk about them. So then, yeah, let's jump into this. So first of all, Luggage gave a tremendous amount of feedback. Thank you very much for that, Luggage. From that, I basically broke it into a checklist. So I improved the audio sound effects when the ship gets hit. It's a little bit more distinct. It's still temporary audio. It doesn't quite do what I want it to do, but it's there. It's improved, and it's still going to be a work in progress. So there's in the engine, you can't just set the player is taking hit damage. You can for, that reminds me actually, let me take a note on that. Set a note for, let's see here, audio bullet override, audio bullet impact sound effect. Yeah, suggestion for see. Yeah, so basically that made me think about that. So currently the only way to set impact sounds, you can do it if you impact the background or you run into something, geometry. But if you pardon me, but if you the bullet impact sounds for bullets come from the impacts, and that also means that if they hit the ship or if you have geometry and they hit the geometry, it's the same sound effect that they play. So it'd be nice to have like an in addition to whenever you get hit to make it more distinct. So I'm gonna write that up for the developer. I think he'll probably, and we'll see if it gets in, but he's probably pretty amicable about it. So I couldn't find a way to do it otherwise. So yeah, anyways, okay, so that was Luggage. Let's take a look. So there's that. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so we're still tracking down a bug. I think we found it now in the community. Basically, we have these black squares that are showing up, and it's related to basically the particle system in a 1-up. So we've got half of it fixed. Might be fixed the next version of the engine. I tweaked level 1 mid-boss music, so I added basically an ambient track as well, because you can play more than one track. So, and I purposely left more space between the mid-boss music and then the final boss music for level 1. We'll see how that feels, but it won't be as quiet now because there'll be this ocean ambient. I use basically the same ocean waves sound or soundscape, I guess is the way to call it, that I'm using for the overworld there. So level 1 fortress boss wall. Yeah, so level 1 fortress wall boss. Finally we got in all of the final art. So yeah, I don't think we have any more temp art now in level 1 anywhere. Maybe that's, well, okay, not entirely true. So many enemy death particles are still temporary. Some bullet particles are still temporary, but we're getting there. But all the base art is there, so which is great. Yeah. So, and with that, I took the opportunity to again retweak and tune the Fortress of Flesh boss bullets. So it is definitely easier now. I hope it's not too easy. But I was noticing people are just getting lit up. So this should be much better this time around. So Still struggling with, so we're working on level 2 Cerebus Island Forest art, and we're struggling right now with, we have these large boulders in the foreground or in the play field that you're supposed to avoid. It's the first time you have any kind of avoidance. We're working through our art now, so art is getting updated for the forest, and then we're going to do the rocks and try to make them pop in a different way. We'll probably make them maybe look a little more dangerous, however you do, make them spiky or something like that. So, but we'll see. So yeah, so that's going on. I did a tutorial on exploding the Lost Wisp enemy that I put up. Level 3 background scrolling versus foreground. So I did tweak it. I can't make it go too much faster, so I slowed it all down than the foreground, because if I make the foreground faster, it's gonna be harder to navigate through, and people are already having a hard time navigating the geometry in this case. So all right, let's see here. Yep, level 3 has been fully updated. Yeah, I tweaked and tuned the parasitic fairies and their plants, so it's a little less crazy. And we'll see how players kind of interact with those. I've been starting to see some of the early playtest feedback come back. And then we're tracking down an issue with performance when spawning the glowy green bits, which reminds me. So when you I've tweaked the super weapon system, so the glowy green bits essentially also fill up your super gauge, and then I took the opportunity to increase the super gauge by about 3x, and then I widened the gap for when you can activate or lower the gap between when you can activate the super. So the strategy there is that you could activate your super if you need to before the gauge is fully full, but whenever you destroy or hit anything with a super, it creates more glowy bits that then fill your super gauge. So if you wait to the super gauge being completely full, then you maximize your points, and it helps reinforce that loop of building up your super. So I already talked to Sunny about we're tracking down the performance issues with spawning items, so that's what those green bits are. Yeah, so tutorial's still very rough. There were some really nasty bugs in the last version of it, and I think they should be fixed. We're gonna do a play test here in a minute. They're fixed in editor. So yeah, what I need to do is that the tutorial is too compact. There's too much text. Text disappears. It's just a mess. So I've been thinking about it deeply, and the whole tutorial is I'm gonna take the lessons that I taught there, maybe keep a little bit of the character bits, and then I'm going to expand the level to be less start and stop. So maybe, and just have a little bit more time. So yeah, those things are a work in progress. All right. So then on Zay's side of things, yeah, so the in the mid boss, we tweaked it to where the avian dark mages fly away if you don't kill them in time before the mid boss returns back to a starting position, which makes it just a little less crazy because you couldn't actually kill the avian dark mages while the mid boss was covering them up. So it kind of made it a little way too hard in that space. So first Hellspawn legions. So I straightened them out so they're not as wavy, which then means that people can focus on shooting the Hellspawn legions without them being too hard for you, because you're still getting used to targeting and how to move your ship and what that does for your bullets. So what I'm finding is people aren't killing them quite as fast as I'd like, and they're often then avoiding them, which is good because they're supposed to be tank enemies that are avoidable, that are all about being avoided. But if you focus fire them, you can shoot them down quicker. So level 1, so let's see here, boss death, what was this, boss death power-ups lower to create. Oh yeah, so tweak basically the power-ups that spawn, and we also did a pass where now, and this is kind of the last version too, but all of the power-ups have been switched out from enemy strings killing power-ups to Loki gift givers. Now Loki's still spawn based on killing strings of enemies. So like the mid boss is a good example of that. If you kill the ads, then the Lokis appear, and you can then collect your goodies at that point. So I felt it kind of really shorted up quite a bit. Speaking of which, we have a new version of Loki and Loki animations in game, which is pretty cool. Lokis are basically my cat, DrBossKey's sidekick. So it's super cool to have her now present. We touched up her fur. She's got way better animation, and now she's in the game. So we did a pass on weapon spawns in level 1, reduced those a little bit. So we talked about the super gauge there. Yeah, mid-track boss we talked about. So the I adjusted the Robonoid top spawns after the first Sea Satans. So that hopefully it's a little less chaos when the level starts to snowball. So that should be easier for players. Yeah, we talked about the Fortress of Flesh, Fortress boss. We adjusted we brought down the hit points on the skull covers. In level 2, we added a couple Loki power-ups to the Lost Soul Wisp. We also increased the range of which the Soul Wisp will detonate, which is good. Pardon me. And I also found design-wise with the Lost Soul Wisps that basically they're the first kind of enemy where you have to basically touch them. They don't do damage, but that makes them scary because normally you don't touch enemies, and then they detonate. So the power-ups are now enticing you to get closer, but they also will explode when you get close without actually being on top. I still might have to increase the radius for explosion, the detection radius more, but that's the thinking there. So it was interesting to see feedback that come through with that. Yep, so we talked about that. I adjusted the music pass for After the Queen Snails as well. I adjusted the hit points for the final form of the level 2 boss, Reaperus. Oh, yeah, so this version has now proper analog stick control. Thank you, Sunny. That's awesome. So we've tweaked the dead zone, but now highly recommend that you play with a controller. But now if you, and I'll show you when we play it, but basically it behaves like a normal analog stick. So if you press the less you press, the slower you go and move. The more you press, the faster you move. So we didn't tweak any of the higher top speeds. We didn't change any of that there. But now we have that in, and it's making overall navigation through the bullet patterns way easier. So I know it's not traditional, but I'm kind of building this shmup for analog sticks. So you can still play it with D-pad, but it's like D-pad is pretty hardcore on the thumbs, and I know it's still it's the fastest, most direct input control, and I totally appreciate that. But I also realize that my thumbs are getting older, and I like the comfort of the analog stick a lot more. So it still plays both, but it means that also by default we're not going to be quite as hardcore as maybe other shmups. So, all right, let's see here. So we added the test attack for the Generbus. Spawn, yeah. So we cleaned up some bugs with the spawn portals, and we added when you go back to the over map or the overworld, I've removed the item plate that set basically your weapon set back to 0, so there's no penalty for going back to the overworld. That also means your weapons will carry through. And then I also added 3 1-ups. Just if you want to go back to the overworld, you can collect your 1-ups. You can get your super power gauge. Your super power gauge doesn't cross between levels. I might change that. I'm still thinking about that. But in preparation for people that want to go and explore, there will be more things that we'll be adding to the overworld over time. So, and then we fixed some nasty bugs with the prototype levels. So from Eric's playthrough notes, so we tuned up the infinite laser. So that's basically a laser that once you fire it doesn't stop firing. So, but because it doesn't stop firing, it means that you're doing way more damage, but wasn't quite. It was a little down-tuned a little too much. So let's see. We improved for level 2 the vampire statue bosses. We improved the tell for the laser warm-ups before the laser columns show up, which are good. I double-checked the collision with terrain there, improved that a little bit. So we also, basically the warp cannon, I'll show you when we get to that, but basically it was too slow with the homing bullets, and then the counterpart is the BFM missile. And so I've changed now to the warp cannon to be a bit more like I have an interesting like squeezy shotgun thing. So you'll see it. Hopefully it'll make it more enticing. And it inherently makes it a little bit stronger too. So I double checked BFM damage feedback on enemies. It does happen, but it's a pass-through weapon, so it's not always as prevalent that you're doing damage. When a bullet disappears and an enemy dies, that definitely gives you more feedback. But in general, I've reduced the hit points for the Robonoid spawners and a few other popcorn enemies. So that'll make weapons like that more easy to understand that they're destroying strings of enemies because they're passing through them. So let's see here. And then I had a couple things that we haven't resolved yet, but they're on the list. All right, we already went over those. Yeah, so on Zay, a couple bits there. So performance as well. I fixed a sorting issue with Loki on top of the Lost Souls that we talked about. I did an optimization of the green goodies. It's mostly draw calls is the problem right now. So once we have that fixed, I can go back to the slightly more twinkly, good-looking version. But we'll see how that turns out. So let's see here. And then yes, of performance optimizations. What do we do? So I also lowered the health on the Hellspawn Legions. Those are those are basically these guys here. Yeah, so these are the Hellspawn Legion guys. So they're meant to be tanky, but too tanky. So we talked about that briefly. Let's see here. And then, yeah, so I found a way to make the enemy death collection bits, field of super gauge. We talked about that. And then what else? So from Razazarak's playthrough, so I wrote up a couple things on being able to change the text, which basically the main title text says press start text. The whole front end is still kind of a mess in terms of like font sizes and what I can customize and some of the text. So I wrote up for the developer to work on giving us a way to customize that, or at least change the string to press any button to start. Added a suggestion for a default option for returning all the video settings to what you had it set to. Button mappings to accent, button mapping for accept button. So I added helper text to the title screen for the keyboard buttons, because with a normal controller, it's easier to find the buttons, but a keyboard, there's so many keys. So that'll help quite a bit. Let's see here. On the tutorial controller helper text, I included keyboard keys as well. Let's see. I had suggestion for adding the pause key to the bind menu because that's not there. What was this? Adjust small Loki size at mid boss. Oh yeah, so I cleaned up the Loki sizes. I was experimenting with a smaller size, but I just made them uniform at this point. I increased the size of the homing missiles to make them just a little bit more visually punchy, so people can also see what's going on when they're tracking how their homing missiles are interacting with the world. Prototype 3, check lost soul collision boxes. Yep, so we talked about that. Prototype fun. So I adjusted the position of the prototype fun level. So I changed the name to a challenge level. Still got a proto in front of it, but I found that because I had the level earlier in the overworld, that people were going there as opposed to going to level 1 after doing the tutorial. So moving it further out should hopefully help kind of give you a critical path. You can choose any level you want at any point, but yeah, I definitely didn't want people brand new to the game coming in and going into a harder level. And I don't have a way to lock down levels right now, but I've since written that up for the developer. So hopefully we'll have the ability to unlock levels over time and things like that. So, okay. Yeah, we talked about that. Level start. Yep, so not much I can do about this. I've already put a suggestion into the developer. Basically, it looks like you're getting hit because we're using the same flash indicator when you start the level, but you don't see that your hull points go down, so yeah, we'll see. I added extra lives to the world. We talked about that. Level progress complete indicator. Yeah, so we talked about that. There's a developer request. I don't have a way to do it cleanly, so... level 3, leave a little more time at the beginning. Yes, I tweaked level 3. Was watching level 3, seeing people play this for the first time is brutal because it's super hard. So I've since tweaked the amount of enemies. I've pulled them down. I removed a few, and I gave just a little bit more time at the very beginning of the level to sort of get oriented with looking at it, dealing with the lantern guys, and then the ads that come from there. So let's see. I tweaked the undead. Oh yes, I tweaked the undead dragons and the level 3 turrets. I changed the sound effect. It was way loud, and I reduced the amount of turrets there. It was creating a lot of chaos. Adjusted the total boss health. It was a little bit long there for level 3. Level 3 set a game complete for players for testing. Oh, did I do that? Yes, I did that. So it should be there. We'll find out. I'm going to play through. So, all right. So that was there. On the Omega Theory playthrough side, it was nice to have it. Oh yeah, so I wrote suggestion up for control screen, so it's easier to read the inputs, the key, what keys are assigned to what. I tuned all the laser and plasma laser speeds for the player and took a look at the enemy ones as well. So it's really cool. We have the ability now to make lasers feel a little bit more snappy, and the plasma beams as well. I tweaked the Robonoids to die basically in one shot from the top cannon. It still takes 2 from the mid weapon, but this should make them go down much faster. And I think what was happening is as they were dying in basically 2 bullets, that people weren't able to kill all the strings as easily. So I want to see what this next round of play test feedback looks like. But rotor wheels, so I adjusted the shots, the time between shots, because they were spamming a little too hard, a little crazy. I adjusted the Cisaton warship health points, so they're a little bit lower. Not too much, just nudged them down a bit. Did that already. I adjust the spacing in level 2 with the avian blood mages, and the queen snails, so hopefully it won't snowball quite as bad there. So we adjusted that. Genobreast lasers. Yep, we talked about that. I set the music to loop in the final boss. The final boss for level 2 is a little bit long, and the track is you can kind of get it all done sometimes, but for people that are having harder, they're taking more time to defeat the boss. It's nice to have music not just go dead there. So, and then I hope I fix this with the tutorial. So there was something creating the image that tells you where your weak spot is on the ship was coming up too soon. And then on the Dimitri side of things, yep, so we added the music. We straightened out the boss splines. Thank you for that. We extended, so in level 1, and I'll comment on this when we play through it, but we have now foreground layers and background layers for the size of the Cerebus Mountain, which is sweet. We had to do this all custom compared to the normal parallaxing of the background. And now we'll see how it plays out, but it was super fun. It took a lot to do to put it in, actually. And then so adjusted I adjusted lots of adjustments to the end of the level. So, and then we increased the rate of fire for the top weapon just a little bit, so it feels better. I didn't want to go too crazy because it's actually stronger, so you don't have the situation where in shmups where you lose your weapon set and then you're with just a pea shooter and you have almost no hope. I really want the base level weapons to be competent, and so they actually do more damage than a lot of the other weapons, but the other weapons have more utility, so it's kind of a nice balance. So going through the weapon tuning has been a lot of fun. And then so we updated, tweaked a lot of the level 3 boss stuff. All right, yeah, I think that's that. How about we jump into it? And I'll note the other things that we've actually done. So let's see, we got the right build, and I'll take notes for myself. Let's cue the music. All right, away we go. It's gonna be a long video. Thanks for hanging in there, folks. What's a froke? Added music to the title level. You can see the bits and bobs that we talked about there, which is helping quite a bit. I also kind of played with the title screen contrast and light levels. I try to darken it down, but it doesn't work as well against that. So,
Super Weapon Online.
Hopefully the next version of the engine, when you press the super weapon button, so so these are the 1-ups. When you press the super weapon button, it will discharge the whole weapon. It's been really tripping people up. Whoa, what's that? Whoa, that was weird. All right, we ship towards the stars. We see the new Loki there. The new Loki's looking way better. Yeah, so it's gonna be fun. I've learned a lot. I put a lot of time into the tutorial level. Not working quite the way I want. It's helping some people, which is good. But it just has some flaws. Let me turn this down a little bit, my own headset. There we go. Yeah, so this bad boy here. Hopefully so this seems to be working the way I expect it to right now. I'll eventually take I don't have a way to dismiss text, so I gotta rethink that a bit. I also need to put in I think I put in a developer request to have the way to, so text isn't just on a timer. Oh yeah, make with the weapons. Oh yes. I'm noticing that when people are playing that they're just collecting the bits and they're not realizing that they can check their weapons after getting it. So it's not the end of the world. And you know, watching people play this type of game for the first time. I need to adjust the item spawner plates there. And the text being left behind, you know, it's just a mess. So, but here's the new control graphic indicator, right?
Super weapon online.
Super weapon bit. Oh. Is it gonna go away? That's weird. Okay. Huh. Yeah, I guess I gotta double check that. That should have went away by then. Well, you know, some bugs may occur. Also, it was really great. I saw Razazarak was like, "What do I do with this weapon?" Well, Raz, you spell your name. I think he found out. He figured it out in the end. So, but it was really cool because it tripped him up because he's never seen a weapon like that in a shmup, and I had a lot of fun kind of working through that. So, yeah. So different power-ups at the end here just to show how your weapons transition. Now, because I basically let's see, I think I fixed it here at least with next level. I think I set your item plate there. Oh, there's a real bug with text there. I gotta double check that. This world is haunted, beautiful, and out of balance. It's good that we're here. Take this and let's hunt. Yeah, goodies.
Super weapon online.
I gotta double check the item plate. I think that needs to be one more. So, level art is all in, which is super cool. You can see the middle missiles are a little bit bigger, just to kind of give a little more punch. And with the Hellspawn Legions, I've been able to tweak them so that they still push you back a little bit, so you don't have to, you know, like. But if you shoot them from the back side of the screen, you'll destroy them all for the most part. But if you're basically point blanking them, you have to move back a little bit. So yeah, and then the analog stick control, really nice. Check out how much more maneuverability I have over the ship. I'm really excited about that. Thank you, Sonny, for putting that in. Ooh. May as well. We got another super weapon. Trying to keep the multiplier going. I still need to pass some multipliers to let players take to keep the multiplier going in between enemy spawns. So. Got a little Loki super power up there. I encourage you again to kind of just use your super, trying to get you comfortable with it in the beginning of the level. Oh yeah, we're doing it. We adjusted the spawn or the amount of bullets that come out of those guys. I really like the previous version, but it's a little too hardcore. So. Yeah, we're working on it. We're trying to make a game for people that don't necessarily play shmups and that want to try it out. And I don't really just want to smash them. So I think there might be a way to fade out the music. I need to double check. Come on, boss. Take it in the face. Saving my super for him. Pretty good tactic. Yeah, it's nice having analog stick control. I've been really enjoying that lately. Yeah, it's interesting to see people play because a lot of times this section is also way easier. So, but it's interesting. Some people. No, did I get it? I think I must. I think I got it. So yeah, so here's the new warp cannon. So we changed the weapon to kind of do like a triple sort of wall thing here. So we'll see how people feel about this thing. If it feels good, because I know this is it wasn't doing enough damage because it's also a seeking weapon. So if you're doing a seeking weapon, then and you don't have to be in danger for the most part, then it makes the weapon or makes the experience too easy. So I'm trying to balance that. So it should feel better, I think, overall. Oh, took a damage there. I'm still playing with the weapon itself, kind of seeing how things are progressing. We got our Loki spawn off of that. We're getting close to that next super weapon. Got our Spore Drive here, which is pretty fun. Whoa. I've seen Feline use bullet canceling, which was pretty sweet. I'm really stocky with super weapons, so I might, and note to self, I might want to reduce a few of the super weapon spawns. I don't know. I don't want super weapons to be this thing that you save up and save up and save up and never use. So yeah, so new Infinity Laser damage. Ooh. For people that are actually dying, being able to have a few more weapon power-ups has been helpful. Right in D. Oh, I stop screwing around with the gun and start shooting enemies. I feel like that's a good super weapon spot. You can see I'm getting one up. Still the lives are, I guess, score is still a little crazy with multiplier, so I need to do another pass on that still. The fact that I have, 397 lives. But we're working on it. We're working on it. Oh man, I missed that guy. Dang. I'm still getting used to the way the things are going now. Health power up there. Yeah, I feel like there's a bug in the system with how many how the multiplier works. So I need to prove it out. I mean, look, my score is completely out of control again. And I've knocked this thing down a few times. I feel like there's something that happens that creates just the math gets funky. And in order to test that, I need to break down all the score bits and then come back to testing it very systematically. Man, I'm wrecking those Cecitons. I don't know. The other side too is that when you know how to the tricks for all this stuff, you don't die. Your weapons start to increase, and some of the weapons are, because of the utility, they do a lot of damage. So. Need to kill it all. One of the design tenets for me is trying to figure out if, like, I want to make sure that you can actually do like a perfect clear and kill every enemy that you see, even if you have to use a super to do it. Because otherwise, it's, like you won't be able to achieve the perfect run and get the highest score. So I'm still on the lookout to see where. Fred. Wow. Note to self that Loki still has invulnerability frames. Need to fix that. I also need to, because I sort of spaced out there a little bit, and I stopped being on top of enemy spawns, so I'm getting the snowball right now. Took a little damage there. But you can see the forest front area and then the back. Got the new boss. New boss. Better than the old boss. All right. Let's see what we got here. So also because of the analog stick control, you can weave yourself. Oops. You can weave yourself in a lot closer to some of these things, which is pretty cool. So, crap. Oh, I took damage there. All right. Yeah. Also, super weapon. Oh crap! I took damage there too. Super weapon is how do I get? Wow, I took a lot of. I think so. I almost got basically a free super weapon off that. I think it's because of all of the
Super weapon online.
It's because of all of the green sparkly bits that are coming off the enemy. So, all right, we're working on it. All right, let's head to the next level. All right, so yeah, so there's a bug with score showing up here. So I'll show this to Sunny. But I don't think it's going to keep the level from, or me from shipping this version of the game. New background art. So very first rough cut. But we're working on it. We're trying to get more to like a jungle flavor, like a tropical jungle. You see the collision damage, and we've got these worm seekers, just destroying things everywhere. I might need to increase the Robonoid enemy projectiles. Because now that they die faster, so that you can see there, you don't actually have to touch them anymore. You can see the Lokis we added there. Yeah, I really like the Lost Soul whips that we did here. They kind of keep you engaged. People are shooting them. Well, that's a good note to self. Maybe here. Let's see. Go look. Yeah. Quick. So let's see here. Lost Soul Wisp. Change hit sound effect to something that indicates no damage is being taken. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that just occurred to me. Robonoid seekers need increase rate of fire. All right. I think that was the main thing. Okay, and then also this is one of our first playthroughs with the green bits filling up the super gauge. So level 1 boss, reduce collectible goals, because getting a second super right off the out of the gate for the second phase of the boss is a little too powerful. But we're working on it. That's why we're checking out stuff. All right. It's been fun to watch people play against the treant here. So, and just seeing how like how it kind of pushes them around the screen. It's being pretty successful so far, which I really like. The way it controls kind of the space. So this is one of those cases where I need to create a situation where you can keep your multiplier going. And we're not quite there yet, so. Because I also want to make sure, one of my other things I want to achieve is that I want to, shmups are like puzzles, and that, yeah, dude, this weapon is just rad. And that when you have the ability to keep your multiplier going across the whole level, with very few exceptions, then it gives you something to strive for, and that also gives you the ability to get the highest score. So it's something I need to work on and iterate on. So, but I've got it. It's on the list of things that's going to be done. It's one of the last things as we work through the balance, of course, that will come online too, because primarily, this guy's snowballed a little bit. Primarily, they, real quick. Oh, sorry, what was I saying? I was saying that, something I totally forgot. My brain started thinking about it this year. Okay, so level 2, remove rotas and enemies before first queen snout. Yeah, because what's happening there is that I want you to have less pressure, and so what's happening is I'm still defeating the enemies, and then the laser appears that you see on the screen right now, and then you're, you know, like it's. I want you to be able to, I want to be able to introduce an enemy to you for you to get an understanding of how the enemy plays, how to play against it, especially with the queen snails because they're pretty big involved enemies, and not have additional pressure, or have you understand the enemy too late and then it snowballs because you were dealing with other enemies that had your attention. I gotta, we've got a new, I wound up adjusting the plasma laser size, and they're shared between enemies, so the queen snail, I gotta fix that at some point too. Fix queen snail laser, start and end particles, and make it its own weapon. So right now, because it shares the same weapon type with the boss, when I tweak the boss stuff, it changed this. So little pro tip, make sure that you don't share weapons if you expect to be doing tuning and tweaking on enemies for different experiences. All right, that worked out. It was really fun watching Eric play because he was using some advanced techniques with the weaponry, and I really appreciated that. So it's you know, when you make something, it's really tough to understand how people are going to play with the game, right? And what they understand, and everyone has different skill levels. Oh yeah, Loki's. All right, we're on top of that. We're basically maximum weapon set. So here's the adjusted spawns for, or the bullet patterns for the parasitic fairy plants. Yeah, it changes a lot. You tweak the popcorn enemies. So you get that parasitic fairy in the back. We'll get rotas here. There. Yeah, these warp oh, really? Wow. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Talking and playing is tough. Streaming and chatting with the community and playing is tough. All right, I need to add some I need to add basically like a warning indicator for how you come into the boss here. I'm using the warp ring field to do damage. I can also overpower a lot of the bat attacks here. Yeah, take that bat. I did good damage. There we go. We changed the spawn pattern of the bullets a little bit, so they take a little less weaving to get through, which is nice. Oh, I took damage. What am I doing? See if I get a little closer to this guy. I don't think so. I mean, we're getting it done. Oh, a second. There we go. Perfect. Sometimes you get stuck not thinking about your different weapons, and your bottom weapons do a lot more damage than your top weapons, but they have a charge up, so you kind of want to figure out, you know, where you want to use your different weapons based on how easy it is to kill enemies. That was good. I totally gamed the system there because I basically destroyed the succubus. Yeah. There we go. Green goodies are filling it all up. We slowed down the speed of the lasers a little bit. These things just get shredded by those bullets. I need to double check that. Huh. I mean, I don't even have to go forward in this case. There we go. There we go. So it's been fun watching people. Oh, crud. I knew what was going on and I got smooshed. Watching people interact with the swords. Oh yeah. There you go. Take it, DrBossKey. We got the stacking of that. So yeah, so a little bit more space between the spawns. I also adjusted the collision of the projectile, so you really only take damage from the middle part. Oh yeah. And then we got basically the general is using the attacks from basically his, you know, like his group. So here we go. This is I haven't played this in a while, so let's see. I tweaked this to be a little less crazy. Oh, I got him. All right, so I made it through. I didn't take damage there. Oh yeah. Interesting. Well, bugs are bugs. Oh, yeah, that's right. I added this at the very beginning to try to help people understand that there's geometry that you're trying to avoid. Also, the shadows are freaking people out. People are feeling like they can go through the shadows because it's silhouette. So when we do the art pass, it's all temporary art. This is my art. Oh crud! Missed those guys. Not paying attention. I'm getting tired. It is a little tired. A little late here, so. But what I was saying is that people are colliding with the shadows because they don't realize that it's all geometry, right? So they're like smashing and stuff like that. I also adjusted the amount of damage you take from colliding, so it doesn't instantly kill you. It still takes, I think you take 2 points of damage. But that should be a little easier to kind of manage. Boosh. I gotta have this the big freaking 5-shotter. Bam, bam. Kind of does a little tutu. These guys are, I tweaked them, which is pretty fun. So they're more adjusted, a little less crazy than before. Got a super weapon in tow, so that's good. Reduce the cannons there we talked about a little bit. Yeah, these I think I need to adjust basically the automatic worm enemies. So sorry, worm enemies. The wormhole bullets. So the mid weapon. Okay. I left these guys in here. Kind of they're hidden, so but you can get to them. Tweak the red skeletons a little bit so they're not quite as crazy. I also let them shoot from off screen because they're kind of like they're basically normally they're one of the few enemies that let this happen, but they kind of lead you to where the source is, so it kind of primes you for that. Getting a little dicey in there. No. dang it. I was trying to get that lantern. I missed the teleporting head thing. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Oh, taking damage. Oh, my God. I ran into stuff. I dropped an item plate there. So even though I devolved my weapon set, my brain's wandering a little bit. Okay, we got 2 whole points. Damage there. Oh, nice. I forgot we got that. Oh, no. This level might be a little too hardcore. I might have to do a pass to basically I have to do a pass to probably adjust the geometry. So I might turn this into a challenge level and then do an adjusted version that is dense in terms of geometry. Also, the bug that you see where it says super weapon ready, that'll be fixed in the next version of it, I think. I'll take that. There's my asshole spawner right there. I gotcha. I'm not going in there for that, that's for sure. And surprisingly enough, people didn't have problems with the columns. I think because it reads as a section you need to navigate through, it focuses your attention. So I'm still learning things like that. We removed the top and bottom geometry bits when you fight the boss. Oh yeah. What's up, Drago? Little cheat here with basically you can kind of stay under his chin. This is gonna be good. Nice. I also basically if you kill the heads. Oh, you know what? Oop. I'm screwing up my own design language. Level 3 boss killing teleporting statue heads should spawn Lokis for the power ups. Okay. We'll get that fixed. What's up, Loki? Oh, crud, I got damage there. Take that. Plasma laser. Plasma homing laser. Look at the bendy bits right there. Oh, man. There we go, there we go. Get these guys. Burn them down with some super. Oh, man. Not even paying attention. Okay, but you know, we're working on it. We're working on it. Dimitri was great. My artist, he was like, why throw the scales? Why don't throw the pieces? And I was like, why not? Scales read better than small bits. Right. And I think I set this up to where this should be level complete. Well, I guess I'll check that. Oh, actually, we got one more thing to check, so. I moved Proto Challenge level 1 down here to better lead the player, as we talked about earlier. Okay, note to self, I need to double check the end level connect. Looks like we have a bug in there. Yeah, iron plates, iron plates. Eventually, I know, believe it or not, we are going to get hopefully more weapon slots. Because I don't feel like we have enough weapons yet. And if we get more weapon slots, then I can also make the progression of your current weapons a little more fluid. Attention again. There we go. Good focus. Let's get focused. Taking damage. Alright, here we go. Focus time. People are having fun playing this level too, so I like that it's a more challenging level. And so it's very encouraging. But watch people play this right out of the gate was rough. I killed some of those guys. They were off screen, but I hadn't come in yet. Damage. That was neat.
Super weapon online.
There we go. Do these dragons move back or not? Yeah, they do. Yeah, I've been finding it's... Oh, what? What was that? I think I ran into a bullet. Dang. Dango. There we go. Yeah, I think that... I'm on the cusp right now of essentially disabling when you do damage to enemies, filling your super gauge at this point. So, because I think I really like the green bits, the green glowy bits, essentially filling up your super meter. Oh, cool! You can harvest super meter there. Yeah. And then that would solve one of the issues I currently have, where high rate of fire and bullets basically fill your super gauge a little too fast. I haven't been able to balance that in between. Oh, we're gonna make it. Okay. Hey, these guys don't go backwards. That's like the other ones. So one of the tricks here is that you don't focus on the demon turrets. Focus on the ship, and you can take it down, and it kills everything attached to it. But you know, that's part of the fun of shmups, is you're trying to figure out the best way to kill enemies. So it's not always the immediate way. It makes the most sense. Yum yum, give me some. Wow, chaos. Ow, I took damage. I'm gonna get them all. Oh. Yeah, I think if I had a super there, I would have been able to take take them all out. A little bit of a dead zone here. Yeah. Analog stick control. I'm loving it. Oh, took damage. What? Come on, Dad. There we go. I didn't deal with the enemy order correctly there, and they stacked up on me. Here it comes. The cool thing is that caught quite a few people, and it's really intense. I'm very pleased with how this experiment turned out. People are doing a great job with the boss. They're not getting wrecked too hard. They're able to respond to the bullet patterns well, and it's not like the boss doesn't overstage well. It makes you move just enough, which is nice. Get closer, I can get my wormhole cannon doing its thing. Take that, dude. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay, note to self, I'm gonna turn off bullet damage from the super meter. All right, well that's it. So crazy. We're up to essentially about 45 minutes of gameplay. It's really intense, and a lot of shmups. That's about on par for the whole game. So now I'm starting to think about, you know, is this like the first chapter? Let me see where we're at. Okay, so we'll go to, where's the next level take us? Oh, you completed the game. Okay, so what I need to do is I'll put the challenge level after level 4, so you can get to game complete. But I shouldn't give you a choice in this case. But look at Sunny, all the Sunnies. That's weird. I couldn't put in a high score. Something's broken there. Something's broken there because I certainly had some high score. Okay, well, that was quite a bit. All right, so I got some good notes. Let me flip this back over. Yeah, okay. First off, if you got this far in the video, thank you very much for following along. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating and sharing. This wouldn't be what it is without you. And this is the definition of community. This is a dream of mine to build a game like this. You know, I've grown up playing games like this, and I want to have my own, you know, unique kind of flavor and exploration of what it means to be this style of game. You know, and no ideas go completely untested, right? Like you could have the best ideas in the world, and until you see people play the game and play with the game and see what they're enjoying and how much fun they're having, you know, that those become your guiding stars, right? So I'm starting to notice these moments, right? Like I pointed out the Skull Lord boss there, right? And moments like that are huge, and they get people to respond, you know, especially with shmups. They're ultra focused games. Like if your brain wanders, you know, or you miss the pattern, or you don't have the right weapon set, like you can go from being on top of your game and being really strong to just getting wrecked completely, right? So it's really fun kind of playing with those mechanics and delving deeper into them, you know, from a designer and developer perspective, as opposed to like a gamer just playing games like Life Force and Gradius and, you know, and Doranpachi and, you know, Einhander and games like that. All right. Anyways, I digress. That was great. I will put this video up. I will talk to everyone soon. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.